Don't worry. Hello, everybody. My name is Ronald White. I'm an alcoholic. Uh, Teresa, I love you. You know that. You know that, my little sister. Um, uh, I have a sobriety date. It's July the 14th of 1986. I have a home group. It's called the Never Too Early Big Book Workshop. We meet every Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the online platform. Please come and join us. We have about 500 intimate friends that get together every Sunday morning to take a walk through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous together. We started with 13 back in 1987 in my mother's home, and thus we grow. Uh, I love the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I also love the 12 and 12. Uh, it's almost like, the Big Book is math, and the 12 and 12 is algebra or trigonometry or something like that. It's a little bit more advanced, right? But I, I should also say I have a sponsor. His name is Jerome Scott. Uh, I love Jerome. Jerome has sponsored me since for probably about the last 35 years or so of my sobriety. Uh, so Alice was talking about earlier about how she had such trouble tracking me down uh, to speak at this particular meeting. My life is full of commitments, and I need those, and not just Alcoholics Anonymous commitments, but life commitments. I have a date night on Friday night with my wife. I have other things that I do throughout. I have work commitments. I have other kinds of things because Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me about practicing these principles in all my affairs. And so, and I need commitments because I am undisciplined, and so I need to be disciplined. So I have trained feet, and right after this meeting, at the top of the next hour, there's a big book workshop, a smaller big book workshop, maybe about 40 people we have in it that I've been doing since maybe the last 13, 14 years or so. I started it. And another lady, I decided to go to a workshop and to just be a member. I didn't want to facilitate it. I wanted to be in there and be, I felt like I want to be, how we are. And I went there, and then when I got in the workshop, the leader ran away. The leader left, and then they said, "Okay, so you have to do it." So I've been facilitating this other workshop for the last 14 years or so. So I have that commitment. So I'll have to run out of here about 3 minutes before the meeting is over. So don't think I'm rude, y'all. I just I honor my commitments. But I wanted to come here because this meeting is a very special meeting, and I've had the opportunity to share at it before, and it is really, really, I consider it to be uh, not just because it's the 11th step, but it's the people that had founded the meeting when Ali and Teresa and them started this thing and we're doing it, and there was some other stuff. I, I'm sorry, y'all. I just kind of looked over and I saw Teresa's avatar, and I thought, oh my God, this, what happened? No, but it just really threw me, and I was, oh shit. So I'm sorry. I apologize. Don't do that to me, T. Um, so when Alice asked me to do this, uh, it was August. It was 2 months ago, and she kept asking me, "Give me a theme, Ronnie. I need a theme, for this." And so I kind of looked in the book, and I was looking for something, and I found this quote, and the full paragraph says, it's from page 104 in the 12 and 12. It says, "In AA, we have found that the actual good results of prayer are beyond question. They are matters of knowledge and experience. All those who have persisted have found strength not ordinarily their own. They have found wisdom beyond their usual capability. And they have increasingly found a peace of mind which can stand firm in the face of difficult circumstances." And I already know that God is always in the house, and God is always in the mix, and somehow I don't know why I picked that, y'all, because I didn't know that today that I would be sharing with you guys. And last Wednesday I got a call from I work at two jobs, and I got a call from the owner of one of the businesses I work for, and she told me, Ron, we're kind of underwater right now. The business is kind of, we're in the red, and we need to, tighten our budget. We need to make some cuts, and so we've decided to stop outsourcing. So, starting in November, your services will no longer be needed. And and I said, excuse me? And she said, she said, like, she said in November, we're going to be doing in-house. We'll have some of our employees run the meeting that you were running, and we don't need your service. And then I did a quick calculation, and I said, oh shit, November, this is October 15th, which she's telling me. I said, that's 2 weeks. And all of a sudden, I find that in 2 weeks, this will be next week, after next week, my income has been sliced in half. And I got scared for a moment. I got scared, you know, because instantly in my mind is, well, I've got this, I've taken on, and I've got that, I've taken on. I've taken on a number of different things that I'm responsible for, that all of my calculations have been with these two jobs that I do, with both jobs that I do. And now all of a sudden, I'm being told that, you know, I no longer, and immediately after the fear came the thought, okay. And I don't get angry at her. I know she was pausing, waiting for my reaction, and I simply said, okay, thank you. And we hung up. And what came to mind is, all right, God, I wonder what you have in store for me now. And I wonder what's going to be this next adventure. Now, you need to know that one of my chief, and I share about this often, one of my chief fears, the chief activating fear of this self-centeredness that I have, is fear of financial insecurity. It's always been the bane of my existence. It's always been something that has dogged me most of my life. That most of the bad decisions I've made in life are traceable to decisions I've made based on self fear that have later placed me in a position to be hurt. I was disbarred. I was a practicing attorney for about 35 years, and I got disbarred about 10 years ago, as a result of making a decision based on self that later placed me in a position to be hurt. I took on a person as a client that I knew or I suspected was not all he pretended to be or all he presented to be, but my my desire to get paid overrode my common sense, and I placed myself in this position where I began to work for this person or work with this person, and they later end up embezzling $1 million from one of their investors. And as a result of me not doing my job, which was oversight of his business, I lose my license. And I couldn't be angry at him. Thank God for inventory, and thank God for having the people around me, because I had people saying, let's go find him, let's ride, right? But I didn't look at him, I looked at me. And I realized that I made a decision in the past, a decision to align myself with this particular person, and it placed me in a position to be hurt. And I need to let you guys know that I contemplated suicide at that moment. And Grace uh, escorted me home. I sometimes like to quote the line that Bill Wilson says about if an alcoholic fails to perfect and enlarge his spiritual life through work and self-sacrifice for others, he could not survive the certain trials and low spots ahead. And I knew that there was something that I had done. I realized this later, not in the moment, but I realized later that there was something that I had done that had connected me enough to the power that that fear did not overtake me. and that I was able to make it home. And Grace found me. That Grace took the form of a beautiful wife that was at home that day. And instead of her, because she didn't know anything about this battle I was doing with the state bar and trying to do this, I'm the kind of guy that thinks I can handle this. And so I don't tell people that I need help or that what's going on. And so when I told her, she did not reject me. Now, all of this, just in case you think this is unconnected to the topic of what I'm telling, what I'm talking to you right now is uh, all there. When I read the thing, I talked about the actual good results of prayer without question, that they are matters of knowledge and experience. And what I'm trying to share with you right now are the knowledge and experience that I have gained as the result of prayer, as the result of my steps being ordered and me being guided, because uh, I was guided home. And that wife that I told you about, instead of her rejecting me or leaving me or calling me a fool or doing whatever, instead, my wife embraced me. And that lady who had not worked for 25 years because she didn't have to, because I had been practicing, and she started working again after 25 years to support our family while I could not work for 2 years. And I can't tell you what it felt like in the valley. No, I can tell you what it felt like in the valley. In fact, that's why I'm here. Because it's so funny that when you're walking in a dark place, there's a light that happens. Um, I got an opportunity to be a house husband while my wife went back to work. And all this time that I thought that, see, because in our arrogance, we forget particular things. See, I'm the one that told my wife has never been lazy. My wife has always worked. My wife I told my wife when she had our son, Ronnie, I said, honey, please stay home, watch Ronnie, so we don't have to have people, take care of him or whatever. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I hear about all kind of shit happening with kids being. So I said, stay at home, take care of him, do whatever. So I've encouraged her to stay home. I told her she never had to work. She never said she wanted to stop working, but I asked that. And years later, I'm thinking to myself, oh, well, you just sitting at home watching soap operas, or you doing this, that, and the other, and waiting for me to bring the money home. When I was sitting at home and my wife was working, I got to see my wife was never just sitting on her ass. She was holding our household together. And God showed me just who that woman was. And I got a chance to see her from a whole new perspective in the valley. That while I'm sitting in wash houses, washing clothes and folding them up with all these old ladies around me and stuff, and and believe me, I felt a little foolish at first, but guess what? After a while, I started feeling useful doing that instead of useless. Lessons in the valley. And so as I'm in there, and believe me, y'all, during this time when I'm at home and I'm doing all that, my prayer life increased exponentially. Because it's funny when you have a lot of that spare time and you have all this stuff, and my head creates things. It talks about how people are looking at you and look at what you've done and wants to continually castigate me and talk down at me and do all of these things. And I can be my own worst enemy, y'all. And I needed to pray like I had never prayed before. And prayer, faith without works is dead. And so in the actions that I accompanied the prayer with, um, I tried to be the best house husband that I could be. Right. I tried to do as best as I could right there, because man, and I have people that I sponsored. We lost everything when I got disbarred. We lost our home. We had to file for bankruptcy. We had to do all kinds of things. And I can't tell you what a failure I felt like. when we lost our home, we were fortunate enough to have um, a, a, a family member connect us with a very good man who allowed us to rent a home that his mother had just passed away, and he was looking to rent this home, and he allowed us to do it. And at the time, my wife's salary didn't cover all the rent, and he'd work with us, and he would let us pay twice a month, and we'd do whatever. But after a while, we kept falling further behind in the rent. And after about 6, 7, or 8 months, he reluctantly handed me an eviction notice and says, Ron, I don't want to do this, but my business manager says I have to protect myself, and so I have to serve you with this. I'm so sorry. He don't know. I felt bad for him because I knew he had been helping us so much, and I felt bad that we couldn't pay the rent, and I had to ask for help. Now it's hard when you're the helper to become the helpee, because it felt humiliating to have to ask people for money, to ask people for help. And what I found is it was not humiliating, it was humility that I had to have. And I learned some additional lessons in the valley. People stepped up, people who loved us beyond measure to help us pay our rent, to help us stay on our feet. We started having to buy stuff from the 99-cent store and Dollar Tree because we could no longer afford all the name brand stuff that we had. It was very humbling, this process that I went through. And finally, I get a little piece of a job. Ralph is a paralegal, and Ralph was doing a landlord-tenant matter for one of our friends in the fellowship. I now sponsor this friend. I didn't sponsor him at the time, but I sponsor him now. He has a lot of good sobriety, and his sponsor just passed away, and he asked me to sponsor him. But this friend, who's a member of this next workshop I'm going to too, all these connections. Uh, he worked for a company. Ralph was with him at landlord tenant court, and he said he told Ralph that he was with this company and he was going into a new opportunity. And when he shared it, Ralph said, Ronnie's looking for work. Can you talk to him? And this guy called me and he said, we're starting a business on Skid Row. It's a place called a sobering center where we're going to try to get alcoholics and drug addicts sober. We're going to try to clean up Skid Row. And we're going to pick up drunks and addicts off the street and give them a bed. And we're going to give them a meal, and we're going to give them a shower. And then we're going to have people like you sit next to their bed, sober coaches, they call us. And you're going to sit bedside. And what you'll do is you'll talk to them about your life and ask them if they have perhaps might want to change in their lives. And then we would connect these people up with treatment centers if they wanted to get sober. And if nothing else, I gave them someone to talk to and someone that would listen to them in that time. I would find myself standing in showers next to people who had just, they had head lice, and I would give them lice treatments. There were people who couldn't contain their bowels, and I would find myself in the shower just washing them off and scrubbing them and stuff. And you need to know this, man, that I was so grateful to have that job. Because, see, God knows that this highfalutin attorney needed to be unemployed for 2 years so that when I got this job, man, I was so grateful to have the opportunity. And I grew in the valley. So that job led to another job, which led to another job, which led to this lady calling me on Wednesday. And when she told me that I would not be working for her 2 weeks hence, I've been in the valley. I already know that prayer works. See, I don't think it. I don't just believe it. I know it. That I've acquired the knowledge that God will never leave me as long as I don't leave God. See, and even if I leave God, God ain't gonna leave. I remember that one of the best uh, posters we had was the footprints, right? Where we talk about there being only one set of footprints in the sand at one time, and we asked God, "Why did you leave me?" And say, "God, that's when I was carrying you." God tells me that. God has always been there. Whether I felt alone or not, I've always been carried. See, and I know that. I don't have to think it. I don't have to. I know that. I have a little exercise that I do nowadays. I get up at about 4 o'clock every morning. I have a little shades lounge in a downstairs area of our house, small, a lower area where the television is and stuff. And I'll go down and in the dark after I've taken my shower, done all that stuff. I'll take my phone. I have a good friend named Harold Long who connected me up with a little thing that where they send out readings, a series of readings from our literature every month, about 5 or 6 things every day. And I will sit down and for about 15 minutes. I will read and I will pray and I will meditate. It took me a couple of days because I need to let y'all know. See, I don't want to make it seem like I'm a saint that the fear came and then it just left. Fear reappears because you can best believe for the next few days it revisited me and saying, "Now you you about to lose a lot of money and you need to find something else." And I have not wanted to be rash or hasty or anything like that because I have I really know, be still, be still, because I know me and I don't want to rush. It's not wise for me to rush into anything. I need to get quiet, and I need to be introspective, and I need to be prayerful in order for me to get the results. How do I know that? From experience. Because I've been able to look back on the times when I've made hasty and rash decisions that have placed me in a position to be hurt. And I know that has never been good for me. When I was in that job on Skid Row, working with the homeless population, I never worked with the homeless population before. I had been this criminal defense attorney, but obviously everybody I'm working for had money. And so when I'm working with the homeless, it's a whole nother, and there may be people on here who's aware of that. And the homeless population is not just one population. You have a huge, diverse community of different kinds of people. You have the people dealing with mental health problems. You have people dealing simply with financial problems. You need people with just lifestyle choices. There are people who want that they don't want to be housed. There's people who want to be housed, but they don't have them. So there's a whole and I got to learn this community, and I got a chance to come fall in love with this community. And so I'm working down on Skid Row, and there's a friend, someone that Ralph sponsored. Ralph seems to run throughout my story a lot because our sobrieties, our walk is intertwined with a lot of commonalities. And Ralph is sponsoring a guy who is a director at a drug and alcohol treatment program, and they're opening a facility that they're going to be hosting a AA meeting. And at their opening meeting, he invites me to be the speaker. So I go and I speak at this meeting. And a couple of weeks later, I'm sitting in my little cubicle, my little desk in the company, the sobering center, and I get a call from this guy. Greg was his name. And Greg, he calls me up and he says, "Ron," he said, "the clients are still buzzing about what you shared at the meeting." He said, "Do you think you can come do a group for us here at the treatment center?" I said, "Well, I've never done a group before." I said, "I mean, what would I have to do?" He said, "Well, you could get licensed." He says, "There's an online, you can go online, you can get licensed, and then you could do." I said, "Well, what would the group be about?" He says, "Well, it could be about anything." I almost said a bad word. I said, "I know y'all don't cuss at this meeting." He said, in my ears, he said, "You can do whatever the F you want to do," right? I said, "Oh, really?" He said, why don't you share why don't you do a group about what you shared at the meeting, about how you got sober, about how you've sustained sobriety. That's what they're interested in. They're interested in how do you stay sober. I said, well, can I use the book in my groups? He said, you can use whatever you want. And so I start one group at this treatment center, taking the clients, talking to the clients, not as a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, but I talk to them as a counselor, and I tell them that there's a method of recovery that's been found by many, called a 12-step recovery program. And I tell them that, I'm not espousing this as the only method of recovery. This is one method. I said, and I'm familiar with it because I've tried it. I said, and so I'd like to go ahead and introduce you to this method so that maybe when you get out of this treatment center, it might be something that you want to check out for yourselves. Um, and so I started with that one group, and they asked me to do another group. And then they asked me to do another. And after being there for a year, they told me that there's this is located in the city of Redondo Beach here in California. And they told us that there had been a homeless population in Redondo Beach, which I was flabbergasted because I said, Redondo Beach got homeless? And they say, yep, they're homeless everywhere. They said, we're trying to clean up the homeless thing by starting a homeless court in Redondo Beach, where people who have little cases and stuff will be able to come to try to get their cases resolved. And so they create this homeless court. And they said, Ron, because you work with the homeless downtown, we think you might be suited to spearhead this project for us. Can you be our? And so they put me in charge of this, uh, being the drug and alcohol counselor at the homeless court. Now I do that, and all I'm doing, you guys, is doing what you guys have shown me. I'm following the directions. As a result of me following the directions, the clients kind of like me. And the court started noticing that. And the prosecutor and the public defender asked the court, they said, can we have Mr. White meet on a weekly basis with our more hardcore clients? And so they started having me do one-on-one counseling session with them. So I have 18 people that I meet on a weekly basis, once a week. And as a result of me doing that, I get a call after I'm doing that for about a year. I get a call from a family friend who says, look, I work for a company that is a foundation that has group homes for people who are mentally incompetent to stand trial. The court sends us these people, and we have to run a group for them called a competency group, where somebody has to teach them about the court system. We need somebody to take over these groups, and we know you do groups at those treatment centers, and we know you used to be a lawyer, so you have the knowledge and you have the ability. Can you come do some work for us at these group homes? There were 6 homes at the time. And so I started doing that, and there's 19 homes there that I work at. That's the job I'm being let go from. And I've been telling the clients, so all this week, I've been telling the clients, there's like about 20 people at each one of these 19 houses. And I've been telling them that next week is going to be uh, my last day there. They're men's houses. We have 6 women houses and 13 men houses. And almost summarily, all the clients are asking me, can I please leave my phone number so that they can use me as a resource in the future? Because I don't just talk to them about court, I talk to them about my sobriety. I am not anonymous about who I am with people I feel could benefit from my help. So God has placed me exactly where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there. It is it is inevitable that I land in my assignment. God gives me the assignment, and I need to be there when called. When one door closes, another one opens, and I know that. I can't stand banging at the door that's closed, hoping that it opens back up because I'll miss it. I'll miss the other one. And so I need to stay in prayer. I need to stay in meditation. I need to take my time. I need to watch. I see it. I need to watch and I need to wait for God's message for the next thing that's coming up. Because I know there's going to be another next thing. I know that. I don't just think it, I know it. And I'm just so excited for it. And whatever it is that God brings to me, I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to seed that since I got to leave a little early. I'm going to seed that 5 minutes. I'm going to give up this 5 minutes that I have to because I want to hear. I want to if there's some Q&A or statements that you guys want to make, I want to be able to hear those because I get so much more from listening to you than I do from listening to myself. And so I'm going to go ahead and yield the floor. Alice, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I hope I didn't ramble. I hope I was able to stay on topic because this is so exquisite and so important to me that I wouldn't miss it for anything in the world. My name is Ronald White. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Alice. My name's Lauren. I'm a very grateful alcoholic. Ronald, thank you so much. What a beautiful message. I'm so, so grateful you're here. I heard a lot in your share that your life today is very simple, but it's not boring. It's very rich. It's beautiful. And I really related to how you spoke of kind of your ego guiding you in work before recovery as well. And I'm curious, because your life is simple yet rich now, what guides you, other than your God, your higher power? What do you look for? What guides you to keep you in check, keep you simple, and keep your life rich with simple pleasures? Thank you.
So the trip thing, thank you, Lauren. The trip thing is a lot of times it just comes to me that I don't have to look for it. That because if you were ask me any particular day of the week where I'm going to be, if Friday, where you going to be, Ronald? I know I've got the detox I'm going to be at, and so and so. I know I'm going to be at this. I know I'm going to do this. I've got date night after five, shut it down after 5 o'clock Friday night. It's me and my wife. If you're going to ask me where I am Sunday, I go to a 6:30 a.m. meeting. That's my time. So it's out of New York with Val and Tina. I'm going to be at 6:30. Then I'm going to be at Bronx Big Book. I've got another meeting I do, then I'm at my workshop. If you ask, so what has happened is this. Over the course of my sobriety, I have learned that if I train my feet to be in the right place at the right time, things will just happen. And believe me, life is full for me. I like to travel. We cruise a lot. My wife has, so I'm glad I have a wife that uh, she likes doing things, and so she drags me out of myself because I can be into myself, and so I get involved in other things, and so my life is full, girl. I just, so I don't have to. It's almost like things just happen. Just like we can place in ourselves in a position to be hurt, we can place ourselves in a position to be blessed.
Thank you. So I want to acknowledge that we have a bunch of hands and we have about 10 minutes before we lose him. So if you've got a question or a comment, please get in quickly. Calvin?
Hello, everybody. My name's Calvin. I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Alice. And Ronnie, man, you a humble guy, man. And ever since I knew you, you've been a humble man. We're close in sobriety. We got the same birthday, and I just love you too, man. And ever since I first heard you talk, you always told me, I always heard from you honesty that I never got from a lot of people. I used to get it a lot early sobriety, but you bring it to the table every time. You bring a level of humility that I pray that I get. Because I'm telling you, man, you touch me every time you talk. And just telling us right where you at today. Them are the men I'm attracted to no matter where I go, the Bob Vazances, the people that tell you exactly where they're at in their life right today. They don't make up no bullshit stories and tell you, well, I should be over here, I'm over there, I'm doing great. You just tell it just like it is, man. And it's so attractive to me. And I just wanted to just tell you that. And it was good to hold it. It was just good to see you in New Jersey a couple of years ago. Thank you.
Pat, please come on in.
Thank you, Alice. Ron, thank you so much. I was really moved by all that you've been through. And my question is, when you lost your license, would it be safe to say that was truly a dark night of the soul for you? And I guess, how did you find the light? How did you not go the other way? But somehow, or did the light find you? What happened in that moment that kept you moving?
So thank you, Pat. So there was a very quick story I'm gonna try to say so I don't take up all the time. Ralph and I had to speak at uh, a convention in Nashville, Tennessee, the Music City Roundup. 3 days after I was contemplating suicide, I wanted to commit suicide on Tuesday. We had to get on a plane on Friday to go speak at this convention. I didn't want to go because I knew if I went, I know I'm going to have to share where I am and what happened. Just like Calvin says, I don't try to BS about where I am. And so, but my feet are trained, so I get on the plane. We go there. We're at breakfast with two friends, Kent Coleman and Steve Lee. They let me use their names for this story because it's so important. And when we're sitting at breakfast and I'm talking about what's happened, I'm crying, Pat, and I'm crying about I'm so sorry that I've let you guys down, and I'm so sorry that I've embarrassed Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm so sorry that I haven't been a great man. I'm just, and I'm sobbing, and they're trying to pick up my spirits and tell me stories about themselves and when one had gone through a bankruptcy, one had gone through a failed relationship in the fellowship, and they're trying, but our stuff always seems so much worse, and so, oh, but you don't understand, right? And finally, one of them says, I cry out, Pat, who would ever want me to share at a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous again when I've lost the gift, when I've lost what God has given me? Who would ever want to hear from me again? And one of them said, Ronnie, are you crazy? Don't you know the more you fuck up your life in Alcoholics Anonymous, the more we want to hear your story? They said, not because you messed it up, but what we want to know is how did you not drink through that? See, that's the whole deal. I'm here to be a demonstration. In our third step prayer, it says, take away my difficulties. So it doesn't say I'm not going to have difficulties. I have difficulties, but they've been taken away so that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help. Pat, thank you so much for the question.
Great answer. Dolly, you're up.
Hi, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you so much. Such a good talk. I love you. I when you said I'm a carried person. You said a carried man. I'm a carried woman. And to be able to really see the depth of that and how far that goes is an awakening in and of itself. Today, I know I don't usually talk about this stuff ever. That I am totally carried. Everything I seek or I want doesn't really play out, but some things find me. The only thing I did was prepare myself through 12 steps, through love, to living what you've taught me. I make the soil ready. I'm able to receive it. I make myself ready. And then I learned from you, say yes, say yes. When my mother died in my sobriety, it was the biggest, oh my God, I thought I'd kill myself when that happened. And I got to tell you, I get a phone call from a friend and they want to hire me at a detox. And I go there and I stayed there 16 years. And I was all AA. I mean, that's all. I mean, I was on fire, Ronnie. Big book, everything, it was all that. And in 16 years, I thought I was giving them a lot. And in reflection, they gave me everything. They gave the patience. The patience gave me everything. You see, that's all I did was say yes, and I was carried. Those patients carried this person that struggled for her sobriety, was facing the most critical moment in her lifetime for me. And I didn't drink, Ronnie. I didn't do anything, Ronnie, but go there and pound this book in group after group after group. I was carried there, Ronnie. I didn't choose to go there. I wasn't making much money there. Do you know what I mean? We're carried. And that is, I believe, the grace. As long as we're awakened enough to say yes because we see it. To me, Ronnie, all of life is an opportunity today. Today I sound good. Thank you. I'm in a good place tonight. Thank you so much, Ronnie.
Okay, we've got 5 minutes and 4 hands, and that's just going to be what it is. If I can't get to everybody, I want you guys to know I love you. Jackie, you're up.
Everybody, I'll be real quick. Oh, Ronnie, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for tonight. I myself have been in a situation for the last month where it's the valley of dark, and my whole world's been rocked upside down. My husband has Parkinson's, and he drained the bank accounts, and we got it turned around. Something spoke, like you're saying, is like, stay in the quiet. And I've doubled up on my prayer, and I'm thinking, okay, God, whatever. It's not working, not working, not working. And the last 2 days, everything has turned around. The sanity has been returned for me and for him. And so, one thing consistent is that God's love is always there. AA has always been there. And I too thought about drinking on Sunday. I have 17 years, and I thought, I just want to drink to pass out. And I shared that with my sponsor. She says, well, at least you haven't been thinking about drinking. I said, but I have. And then I shared it at a meeting today, but I have, you know, and I was ashamed of that. And I don't need to be ashamed of that. I am an alcoholic. And by sharing it, it lightened that load. And I realize I see the suicide in my thoughts, the suicide in my drinking. I see that. I see that. And so I just appreciate your honesty and your sharing and your giving of yourself so that I can feel like a normal person, and I'm okay. I'm okay. So I thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for that. And Ronnie, before you have to leave, I want you to know there's a lot of love in the chat for you. Kathy, you're up. I think we can get you in. Kathy?
I asked you to unmute. Do you see that, Kathy?
I've also asked Kathy to unmute.
Oh, sugar.
All right. Carol, will you come on in? We'll come back to you, Kathy, if we can. I'm sorry. You want to try again,
Beautiful
Kathy?
share. Praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out while you're in the valley. Can you break that down? Does that mean don't pray for healing? Don't pray for, the leaders of our nation? What are we really talking about there?
So if you one of the reasons I told that story is that I was talking about the actions that I took while I was in the valley. Because praying is one thing, and praying for knowledge of God's will for me and the power to carry that out. That all sounds good. What I do know is this: God's will is God always wants the best for me. Now, I don't always know what that is, you see. And so you guys have taught me a way of life that makes me consistent with that, that aligns me with that, that puts me in the right direction with God's will. So that I don't, because best believe people wanted me, there were people approaching me to make a move, to do some, get rich quick thing, to do something slick, to do whatever. And see, and if I had done those things, praying for God's will and the power to carry that out, go all out the window. I'm praying for Ronald's will and the power to carry that out, right? And so I understand that follow the directions, Mr. White. I need to continue to follow the directions that you guys have given me, and the assignment comes.
Thank you. Kathy, I've tried a few more times to unmute you.
I think I got.
Oh,
She
I muted
had,
you
but
again.
didn't.
Oh my
Okay, I
God,
think
that's
I saw it this time. I knew I was looking for it. Thank you, Ronnie, for your time and your share. My question is, faith without works is dead, and yet we have to be still. So how do you balance the two?
So it's funny how Bill had written this thing, common sense thus become uncommon sense. It says, when I'm in doubt, instead of me running around trying to get answers, guess what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to get quiet. And I'm supposed to be still. Because my thing has always been about, let's make it happen. Let's do, if I'm in doubt, let's go out and find it. A lot of times that's not the answer, Kathy, for me to go ahead and do a lot of running around. There is a certain intuitiveness that comes from having cleaned myself out and done whatever, so that now I kind of feel when I'm supposed to move. And I kind of know when to lay back. That I kind of can sense that it's an indefinable quality. When we get to step 10, it says that we may pay for this assumption in absurd things and all kinds of stuff initially, because I'm new at this. But after a while, right? In 11, it talks about after a while, it will become a part of the working mind. It will become just a part of who I am and what happens. And I don't know when this happens, but Kath, guess what? What I've learned is this: if I continue to try to help other people, I get a lot smarter when I'm just trying to help myself.
I know you have to leave. Thank
I
you for
sure
that
do.
answer.
I love you all. Thank you so much. I have to log off so I can log into this other one. Again, Alice, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the platform. And I love all of you. Cal, I
I
love you,
love you.
brother.
Is the
No
one
doubt,
you're
Ronnie.
going to
No doubt.
now
You're
available?
welcome for a great.
No, the
Thank
one
you,
I'm going
Ronnie.
to is
Love you.
closed
Okay,
right now
thank
because
you.